What instrument does a football team play?
Which one?
A saxophone.
First and foremost, you know the name. We came to bring.
All right, guys, welcome to First and Four, the podcast where a father and his firstborn break down America's four biggest sports. Let's get right into it with our film room. We'll get to the Super Bowl, I think, in a minute, but let's just talk about the Stadium Series game from a couple nights ago. The Lightning beating the Bruins 6-5 in a shootout after overtime Sunday night?
Sunday night,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that was a good one to call up, bring up another sport other than football for once,
Since we didn't have football this weekend, I
Yeah,
think it
that's
is a
right.
good one to call up. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
The game was fantastic, but I just thought the scene was awesome. Usually Tampa is going to be a warmer place, but there were some flurries in the air. They had like the whole scene kind of set up around the ice down on the kind of stadium where the field would be, and I
Yeah.
just thought it was really cool.
It was really cool, and I do think, not having football for the weekend, it was kind of a fun Sunday night, cap of the weekend, and they did do a really nice job with the whole setup, and especially down in Florida, you wouldn't think this time of year you'd be able to play hockey
Right.
outside. They lucked out, I guess, with the weather being
Mhm.
cooler and everything, and able to play it. The only thing I did like all the stuff they had kind of set up around the ice, but you have those big football stadiums. I don't like that you don't have people down on the glass.
I was going to say, yeah, there was kind of some like empty space almost.
Yeah, it's like really weird to not have people down on the glass and like guys are getting checked up against the boards or whatever, and there's no fans there. They're like,
Nothing,
yeah,
Yeah, you're
to
right.
be right there in the action and everything. And I think that's kind of the exciting thing of hockey is like being right there in the action. The guy comes up on the glass. Yeah, you kind of miss that when that big stadium like that. But really cool. I mean, Tampa, they did a great job with the setup and everything. And fantastic game. It was looked like it was going to be a blowout at first.
It did, yeah. 5-1, largest comeback in an NHL outdoor game and largest comeback victory in franchise history for the Lightning.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So 5-1. I think they got up. Boston did pretty quick there in the
Right,
second
yeah.
period. I think the big thing that kind of changed it was the fight that happened with the
goalies,
goalies
yeah, that was
going at it.
awesome.
That was really cool to see the goalies going at it on the ice, and then they almost kind of started smiling and laughing a little bit after, and they kind of got into it or whatever, and then got back into their goals and whatever, started playing. But it was pretty cool to see. I think those guys getting after it. Don't typically get to see the goalies fight, so it was
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
a
that
fun little
was-
change.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with Boston, they this season have led the league in penalty minutes, and you kind of saw it in that game too, where they were up those 4 goals, but then started getting into the penalty issues, and the Lightning got several power plays that they had, and obviously that's what kind of changed things, got them back into the game, and then go to overtime, which is pretty exciting to see the overtime and the shootout, and Tampa, like you said, pulled it off in the end. So pretty fun to you don't have football for the weekend, but exciting to have hockey and something to watch on Sunday night. So
Yeah, something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like we said.
definitely.
All right. Well then, I think we kind of said we'd have a little bit more on the Super Bowl this week, since we talked about it briefly last week, but figured we'd talk about it some more this week because it's coming up, and then done with football for a pretty long time. So, yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, been hearing a lot, and I did say last week I think Seattle was kind of my pick, my favorite, I think, and I don't
Mhm.
think I've really changed on that heading into this week. I do think with the coaching, if you want to break it down to what maybe will keep the Patriots in the game, I think the coaching for sure. Not a lot of experience between the two teams with the players being in the Super Bowl, but obviously you got Vrabel as a player, had been in before. Sam Darnold, I forgot, was actually on the Niners when they went to the Super Bowl before. So I guess he's been in a Super Bowl, but not, obviously
Not
as a
starting,
starter.
yeah.
So that, Yeah, it'll be pretty even on those sides, I guess, as far as the experience is concerned. But I think just the defense again of the Patriots, or excuse me, of the Seahawks, I think will kind of take over for the game. And I think it's a 4.5-point spread now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking the Seahawks cover that. Honestly, I'm not sure if the Patriots are going to be able to score enough to get close. I guess I'm maybe wishful thinking and hoping that that's what the case is, but I guess we'll see. So, what are your thoughts? I mean, you're
we'll
the
see.
Seahawks fan, right?
Yeah,
So
no, I am. I pulled out the Seahawks legend Eddie Lacy jersey this week.
Nice.
I don't even know if people remember he played there. It is 27. It could be Reek Woolen, I guess, but
There you go.
you can pretend. You mentioned the spread. Dogs of 4 or more are 7-0 against the spread in the Super Bowl. So that is the Seahawks for -4.5, like you said.
Yep.
So I guess that favors the Patriots. Favors a close game.
Yeah.
But I guess I hope it's a not so close of a game. I guess I wouldn't mind it being a close game. It's fun to be able to get into it and watch. But ultimately, I do want the Seahawks to come out on top, and I think most of the country is rooting that way as well, which is nice. Since that's my team. But yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Definitely have the Seahawks as well, and I mean I think I'd take them the -4.5 too. I think it's a touchdown game, and the Seahawks. Yeah, I think the defense is what's the difference. The Patriots have played all these defenses leading up to the Super Bowl, and that's what people are talking about. But I don't think any of those defenses have had the offense attached that the Seahawks have.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I do think there's some credit to give to the Patriots defense. They've, been part of the reason that some of those offenses haven't been able to move as much. But I do think the Seahawks have a lot more firepower than those other offenses did.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the matchup with like Christian Gonzalez if he's on Smith and Jigba, and how that
hard to play him one-on-one, but
and how all that matchup and everything works. But we talked about it last week. I think the Seahawks have been the most complete team. It's not just their defense; their offense is very good. They've got a couple of running backs, Walker, Charbonnet.
Not anymore Charbonnet, but
yeah, well, but Walker has been very good, and so we'll see. And again, with Smith and Jigba, I think fantastic receiver, and Cooper Kupp with some Super Bowl experience as well.
True,
on that side. So
Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah. So I do think you talk about the spread a little bit. One other note there: the favorites are actually 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 Super Bowls, and they're 0-5. I'm sorry, against the spread, 1-4 straight up, which doesn't really bode well for the Seahawks.
No.
You think we're just kind of talking about maybe they're favorites and we're thinking they're going to win, but it's the 4th time that the favorites also went 6-0 in the divisional round and conference championships, and the other 3 times that happened, the favorite won the Super Bowl. So there could be, if the trends kind of stick with the conference championships and things like that, then maybe the Seahawks come out on top this year as well. So
yeah,
lots to look forward to. This is kind of interesting too. We talked about the Patriots in 2001, or whenever Brady, his sophomore year, if you will,
right,
and then winning that Super Bowl and kind of the Drake May factor. This is the first time they're going to be underdogs since that 2001 Super Bowl.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and they beat the Rams as 14-point underdogs that go around. So that'll be kind of interesting. The narrative behind all
parallel,
that.
Yep, you're right.
Parallel with Brady we talked about last week. So I don't know. I think there's some storylines there that could potentially build on the Patriots side. Let's hope it doesn't get to that point. But yeah, it is the Seahawks also first time being favored in a Super Bowl. So that's kind of interesting too. They've been underdogs
too,
when they've won in the past. So
that is crazy because that first one, or that one they won, wasn't all that close.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, the one with the Broncos.
The Broncos.
Yeah, they were underdogs in that one, and they were a lot of people were really thinking the Broncos might run away with that, and it was the Seahawks that totally ran away with it.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a blowout.
Yeah, it was close.
Big blowout for the Seahawks. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting week.
Super Bowl
week's always really fun, and I've got my throwback Walter Payton jersey on. 40 years since the Bears last won the Super Bowl, so I got to reminisce on something here.
Yep. They're getting
So I'll
closer.
rock that. That's right. Soon enough, right? Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, we wrote down a few kind of little just fun stats. My favorite one that I've seen is that the Seahawks are plus 700 to pass on or inside the Patriots 1 yard line. So a little call back to the interception on the 1 yard line
Yep.
when they played the Patriots the last time in the Super Bowl, which is a kind of funny prop that's going around. People are betting on. So
Yeah.
guess we'll see.
Wouldn't that be funny if it's like another 28-24? Maybe it's a win for the Seahawks this time.
There you go.
Maybe we could flip
That'd be fun.
flip
Yep.
that around a little bit. Maybe they don't cover, but they win by the 4 points. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something to consider. I think that hit the over because I think the over is around 47-ish, 47.5 maybe, something like that. I can't remember if I jotted that down or not, but I think the over is around 47. So I think if they 28-24 would give them 52. So
Yeah, 45.5.
45.5. Yeah. So maybe it came down a little bit.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah. So
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What was I going to ask you? Oh, I guess score prediction. What do you think? You got a score?
I think the Patriots are going to be somewhere around. So we're just looking up the average that the Seahawks have given up this year is like 17.2 points per game. I'm thinking the Patriots are probably going to be around that. So 17 will go for the Patriots, and I'm going to pick Seattle to be, let's go 27-17, I think is my prediction. 7-7 with the final two numbers there for those that play the boards. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, around 17 points per game. Makes a lot of sense. I think a big question is just, can the Patriots get right up around that kind of 20-point mark? I think that's going to be a key. If they're going to win, they're going to need to score some points.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go. I want to be a little bit different, but I'm kind of thinking along the same lines. I'll go Seahawks 26, Patriots 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So boy, they cover for both of us, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah. The other one I think I saw was the quarterbacks, like it was at 2.5, more than 2.5 to throw a pass.
Yes.
Not quarterbacks, but I guess
over under 2.5 players have passed.
players have
hit.
passed.
I guess the overs hit in 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that might carry into this game, even if it's not like a trick play or whatever. Drake May is coming in with some shoulder problems. There's a lot of questions around that. He's obviously going to play. There's not going to be any doubt on that. But does he injure something during the game? Does it aggravate him a little more? And then you might get a backup quarterback in there. And
Josh Dobbs,
the astronaut. Yeah.
That's right.
So we'll see what happens there. But that might be a good one. That over 2.5 to throw a pass, I think is probably a one.
I like that. I'm trying to think who else was like high school quarterbacks on those teams. Was Cooper Kupp maybe?
Yeah,
The
I think that
quarterback
might be
at some
right.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or I don't know. Like these are some creative offensive guys, Sean McVay, Clint Kubiak, or you could just have some blown punt or something.
Yeah, that's
random
true.
pass attempt.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe next week we'll talk about, like, I know you do some more of those fun little props, not like huge betting, but like just little pick things. Maybe we'll do some, like, go through some of those.
Yeah.
They're always kind of funny.
They are really
afterwards.
fun. Yeah, those are really fun.
Okay, anything else on the big game?
No, it's an exciting week. I'm excited
it
for
is.
you, and we'll see what the
it'll be
Seahawks
fun.
can do this week. Yeah,
All
it's
right.
always fun.
Okay, let's move on to our moving the chain segment. So today our conversation is going to be about rule changes in each sport, and whether they're kind of fixing the game or ruining it. So we're going to each give one rule change from the last 20 years-ish from each sport that we like, one that we dislike. So let's start with football. What's a rule change recently that you like in football?
So I kind of looked at this as like the past 20 years. I went back and looked at all the different rule changes over the past 20 years. I figured that was kind of a good time frame to consider. So the one that I said I liked for the NFL was the extra point moving to the 15-yard line, and that happened in 2015. So that used to be on the 3-yard line. They snapped to the 10. It's a 20-yard extra point, right? And I think it was like 99% conversion on that. They pretty much never missed. I mean, there was a few here and there, but it was pretty much automatic. Since they moved that back, now it's at 94%. I just kind of like it's more strategic, I think, on like especially going for two. You see that a lot more now on should we, go for the extra point, or maybe going for two is the better play. And I think it just gets a little more strategy involved with the coaches, and makes things a little bit more exciting there at the after a score, right? So yeah, it's not
Yeah.
automatic.
Right. Well, and I think if it's going to be like a 99% like it was before, then what's the point of even having the play, right?
Yeah.
You're almost like diminishing the role of the kicker. So yeah, I think moving it back makes the kicker a little bit more important. I think we see a lot more like turnover as far as kickers go on rosters as well. You see, I feel like they have a lot shorter of a leash. Like they're getting cut more and more.
Agreed.
So yeah, I think that's a good change.
Yeah, so I like that one. I don't like. I'm not sure anybody. I haven't talked to anybody that likes this, but the dynamic kickoff, or whatever they call it, the new kickoff rule that they have for the NFL. I know they did this for concussions and try to get those down, which they are down. I guess from the implementation of this, they've seen a significant decrease in concussions, but I guess it's increased other injuries on kick returns. So there's a higher total of other injuries, I think, probably because there's other things, like there's more returns, I think, now also. They're not as high impacts. You're not having those concussions, but you're having other injuries that are occurring. So I don't know. You trade one for the other. Like, I'm not sure that that's great. And then I don't like that, like the onside kick is now. Like,
you have to like declare.
Yeah, declaring it.
like
there's
that.
no surprise onside kicks.
Sean Payton coming out of halftime.
Exactly. Yeah, even like the Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, we've seen that before, and it's kind of an exciting when it happens, whether it goes the way the kicking team wanted it to, or the return team, gets great field position. Like it's just that surprise element isn't there anymore, and it's
right.
And the other thing is like it's not translating down to like the college level or anywhere else. It's like just the NFL is doing it, and it doesn't. I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like the dynamic.
No, I agree. I feel like I saw somewhere too that like the whatever version of the kickoff was before this one, because they changed. Do you remember that where they changed some of the touchback rules and like they were moving towards this, but it wasn't completely like concussions were already starting to go down, and then they changed it again. So like, I don't know. I just think that there's other solutions. I'm not gonna like be the one to complain the most because I don't think I have the perfect solution, but like it just doesn't look like football.
Yeah, it's weird. I would agree. I've even said like, what about like on the kickoff? Could you get we talk about extra points there. We like them moving it back. What if you got an extra point for kicking it through the uprights? What if and you wouldn't have a return there, but like, hey, maybe these kickers need some incentive to like kick the ball through the uprights on the kickoff, and you get an extra point or something for that, and that gives a little more strategy too on like, I'll kick an extra point like after the touchdown, but then maybe I get the kickoff and I get another one, and that's a 2-point versus going for the regular 2
point. Well, because if that falls just short, you're going through the end zone, and that touchback, you can also move it up, right? Like, you can move what's touchback right now? It's something crazy anyway, like the 35.
35. Mm-hmm.
I mean, say move the touchback up to like the 40.
Yeah.
And then make that an extra point. Like,
there's a little more strategy involved. And like, do you want to go for that? Or
try and go for it, but then that touchback's going to bump it all the way up to where, I mean, Cam Little, kicked a 68-yarder. So the Jags got to advance the ball 10 yards and they're in field goal range.
Yeah.
To get that touchback. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, something to think about. I don't know. Maybe that's more an automatic thing for the kickers too at some point, but
eventually,
I don't know. Just trying to think through like what can you do differently, because that dynamic kickoff is just
doesn't look right. Yeah, I agree. Okay, I think a rule that I like, and some people like it, some don't, but I think both teams getting the ball in overtime does make sense.
Yeah.
It kind of stemmed from that Chiefs-Bills game in the playoffs the one year. Kind of been named the Josh Allen rule, but I think it makes sense. And like, I don't know, like just both teams getting the ball, I think, I don't know, like just the fact that you could have some comeback or decide to, kick a field goal instead of going for a touchdown or something in an end of game scenario, and then never get the ball back again, never made sense to me.
Yeah.
And so what is it? I think 2022 was when it first started for, I think that was for the playoffs, and then 2025, just this season, was for the whole regular season, so any game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a rule that I like.
I would agree. I do think that one is a much better rule than what they had previously. And yeah, both teams are able to get the ball, and there's some strategy involved too on like the coin flip. I know somebody was saying even when the Bears and Rams went into overtime, like the Bears should have taken the ball first with momentum and whatever. I didn't agree with that. I
Yeah,
do
I
think
don't
you want the
agree
ball
either.
second. Obviously the Bears didn't end up scoring the through interception, whatever, but I do think that they, they knew what they needed to get, right? And they knew that they could get a field goal and win the game or whatever. So, but no, I would agree. I do like that rule change, and I like having both teams get the ball.
Okay, and then as far as dislike, I had a couple things written down. I think my top one's the hip drop tackle, which was a new rule last season, right? 2024, or was it this season?
No, it was last year.
Okay, that's what I thought. I think it's been around 2 years. I think I've seen it actually called in a game like once.
Yeah.
But basically, it's just wrapping a player around the hip and dropping them, which, like, the problem is players started doing that because it was an adjustment to the other rules. You can't go too low.
Yep.
You can't go for someone's head. Okay, well, now you can't go for their hips either. Like, what is it going to be, flag football?
I mean, that's
Right? So, like, that's, like, I just don't get kind of the evolution of some of these tackling rules where that just seems like a step too far. And like I said, my only thing that, like, doesn't make me outright just hate it is the fact that it never gets called because it's such a stupid thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't love it.
Yeah, I've never understood that call either, and I don't really understand how they would call it. Like you said, I maybe have seen it called like once, but I don't know how these defenders are tackling people are able to, like, you had to find that one little sweet spot to hit somebody,
Right.
and then like if you don't, and somebody drops their head or whatever, and you hit them incorrectly, and it's like a 15-yard penalty. Like, I don't know how the defenders, some of them are
I have
even
no
making
idea.
some of these tackles,
Yeah.
but I would agree that hip drop it's a strange rule that they put in, and it doesn't seem like it's really necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I threw taunting on here too. The rule hasn't really changed, but I know this season the NFL had refs put more of an emphasis on it. And in some cases, like, I get it, but when you get to a postseason game like the one with the Seahawks, Tariq Woolen's penalty on the 4th and 12, there's just a point where I feel like the ref can just step in and say, "Hey, stop! Let's not get this or let this get too far."
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, when you're stepping in and that penalty is what's, like, changing possibly the outcome of a game. Obviously, it didn't, but, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a point where that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and I don't know in that case, like, did the ref step in and like say something, and then he just kept going?
Yeah,
that's the only thing I can.
There's things we might not have known.
But... Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, taunting's a little
right. Seems excessive sometimes. I don't know. Maybe like something I'll talk about later is the flop warning in basketball. Maybe like a taunting warning, and then I don't know. I think there's other ways to go about it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to baseball then. What's something you like that has changed about baseball?
I like the intentional walk update. So that was in 2017. They put that in, and so that dropped the intentional base. So it was 6.5 to 7 per 1,000 pitch attempts that in the mid 2000s, and now it went down to under 4 since they put that in place. I just think it moves the game along. It seems a lot, I used to always think when they did the intentional walks and you have the catcher stand up, put his arm out, throw the pitch, throw another one, throw another one, throw another. I mean, it's like,
right.
Can you just let the guy go to the base?
Yeah, what you're trying to do.
What are we doing here? Yeah, exactly. So that's one where I really like it. Moves the game along. It's like, just give him the base and let's, keep going. Yeah, I think that's been a really good rule and a nice change for baseball for me. What I don't like is the extra inning runner. So that just got put in place in 2020. Yeah. I think that it just seems weird that, like, you stick a guy on second base in extra innings. And I know it's not for the playoffs or whatever, it's during the regular season. And again, this is more to kind of move the games along because they don't want them extending out forever. But, like, it seems weird to have a guy just on base already when you start an inning. And, like, the reliever is already at a disadvantage then. And then like you look at some of their stats, like they're going to have blown saves and whatever, and like they never let a runner on base.
Right.
And then you think of like small ball, like you bunt somebody over, and then you can get a sac fly, and like, oh, now the runner scores. Like, there's got to be some better ways to manage some of those end of game situations, and
Yeah.
that just seems like a weird. I don't like that rule.
I agree. And we saw the one game in the World Series that went to 16 or 17 innings. So like it does happen still occasionally, but not as often, obviously. And I think that those are good for the game.
Yeah.
Like it's exciting for a game to go that long. It might be hard to sit and watch it, but like I think once you sit down and watch it, like you're not going to get up once it's like 12 innings in, right?
Right.
And so like I think that that's a good thing for the game when it goes on longer. And like it's just such a gimmicky thing. It's again like it just doesn't quite look like baseball in a sense.
I agree. Like I said, you come out of the beginning of the inning and the guy's
There's already
standing
a
on
guy
second
out
base.
there, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
It's really weird. So I could do away with that rule for sure.
I agree. All right, and then I've kind of mentioned it before, but I like the pitch clock. I like that it moves games along. Game times have dropped by nearly 30 minutes, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. Even like a standpoint of player health and safety, like it's half an hour less out if it's hot or cold. You're getting more viewers for games because they're not as long, and it's just moving things along. So I think that it's a good rule, and we've seen pitchers really be pretty compliant with it. At first, there were a couple that were like getting called for the whatever they call it when they wait too long, delay a game or whatever. But now it's not something we see anymore. So yeah, I think that that's a good change.
Yeah, we talked about that one a little bit last week, and I had mentioned I get it from a TV aspect. I think being at the game, I still
live.
There's something to be said for just kind of enjoying, letting the game breathe a little bit, and not having that hurry up rush, get to the next pitch. I could think it takes away a little bit from the live atmosphere at the game, but I get it from the TV standpoint.
Yeah, and then something I dislike is taking out the shift, which I think was another thing that was 2 seasons ago. I want to say, and I think, there were a few goals with it. The main one, from my point of view, is to get more balls in play. Right, you're trying to quit defenders from moving around, and then to an extent, like getting some more athletic plays on defense. Like you got to run over there and make a play.
Yeah.
But I don't know. To me, it's similar to the NFL, where like so much is favoring the offense. Like, I don't know, maybe just find more ways to hit the ball and play. Like, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I just think that you're putting the defense at more of a disadvantage, which again is, in a sense, like it's almost the goal of the rule. And it just, to me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I tend to agree with you. I think they're professional baseball players, and you tell me that you can't hit the ball in a different direction than
figure it out.
Figure it out. Yeah, everyone wants to slide to one way, then like hit it where the defense isn't. I'm not a baseball player. I admit to that, but like they're professional baseball players. Like you think you should be able to do some of these things, and so having that shift on or taking it away, I guess I don't agree with really either.
Yeah,
it's very strange.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like when you're out playing kickball when you're younger, right? Like if someone's up that's kicking, they can kick farther, like you move back, or like if you know that they're left footed, you know where to move. Like, I don't know. It's just, and then that other person's got to figure out where to kick it.
Yeah, it's strategy. Exactly. Make a change.
Yeah.
Do something different. Yeah.
I don't know. So that's my thought.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to basketball then. What's something you like?
I did like they made a change for like the All NBA or any like postseason awards that the players had to play a minimum number of games. So it's 65 games that you have to play to be included on those end of season, postseason awards. And I think that's a great change, right? Like you can't, they're talking about load management now and these guys not playing all the games. And then like they want to be included in all these different awards. It's like, no, you got to play in order to be included in the awards. And I think that's a great rule. I'm glad that they put that in place. Hopefully it makes these players want to play a little bit more. Injuries happen. I get it. That's fine. But like you didn't play the game. So like, why would you be included in these awards if you didn't play in as many games or as much as some of these other players? So I think that's a great rule change by the NBA to get that in place.
Yeah.
That's one I definitely like.
Yeah, I don't have much to add there. I completely agree.
Yeah, yeah. What I don't like, and this probably goes across a lot of the sports, but like the review process, especially like the instant replay review
Mm,
for the NBA, expanding that, and for a lot of the in-game decisions, flagrant fouls. The one that drives me crazy the most is the last touch calls. Like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
the end of games, the last minute or two goes on forever. And it's
Yep.
like they look at the little finger touch, and did it touch this guy's finger and go out of bounds off of him? And let's look at this, and back and forth and back and forth. And like, oh my gosh, like let's make the call and just move the game along. Like, how many other calls throughout the game have had that same touch or whatever, and you don't go to the replay booth? And like, players and coaches always say at the end of the game, like, that one play didn't dictate whether we won or lost the entire game. So like, why are we focusing so
Right.
much on that one little play? Like, make the stop if you have to, or whatever it is. Like, I don't know. I can't stand that that long stretch at the end of games that you have to go through for this, going to the replay board, going to the replay, and going to the booth. And like, so you could go across several of these sports and say that, but that's one for NBA. And for basketball, that really just kind of drives me crazy.
Yeah, I totally agree with that as well.
Yeah.
Actually, like it's just I don't know, just takes up so much time, and I don't go to too many basketball games, but I can't imagine sitting there through every one of those.
Yeah,
It's just insane.
it's terrible.
All right, with basketball, I guess the NBA, I like the flop warning they've got. That's been around for a little bit. It started in the 2012-2013 season. But I like that there's something there to be said where I think that it's like people watching the games know that it's something that's going on. So for there to be a warning saying, "Hey, stop doing that," I think that that's good. And then I actually didn't even know that after that there's like progressive fines if it keeps getting called. I didn't even know that was how that worked, but
Yeah.
I looked it up and I guess so. So yeah, that's something I definitely like. It discourages the flopping and all the whatever trying to draw fouls, and I think that that's good.
Maybe they need to get that into soccer.
Maybe they do. I
European
think
soccer
you're right.
leagues. That'd be something.
Don't think that'll ever
Yeah, I
pass.
don't either. Yeah, that'd be
And
nice, though.
then something like there's a few different rules that have kind of built up to this, but one that was for just this last season is like listed out as the enhanced landing space interpretation. So, um, yeah, cracking down on defenders entering a shooter's landing space. So talking
Mhm.
about like that cylinder idea, that there's been like more and more rules kind of just adding on slowly the last few years if you've been watching.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it's to a point where, again, just like the NBA, it's just so much favoring the offense
Yeah.
that there's just some like incidental contact and being just like a little too close that I feel like it's just getting called just because, yeah, like I don't know, you were up in their bubble or something.
Yeah.
Isn't that one of the words they use, their bubble? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like that's just stupid to me. Like it's defense.
I know. I think the first time I saw that cylinder rule called, I'm like, what in the heck did they just call? Like, the guy was too close to him? Like, that's just like the most ridiculous call I've
Yeah.
ever heard. Like, are you a non-contact sport now? Like, it's outrageous. And the other one that kind of goes into that same thing is when they put that little arc around
Mhm.
by the basket for the charge.
Yep.
Again, I don't like that rule, or that whatever little arc being in there either. I mean, it just takes away a lot of the contact or whatever. And like, oh, we're just going to give you, even if the guy was set, now it's going to be a block on you because you're inside the little arc or whatever, like inside this bubble. Like, yeah, these bubbles they've got going on are just ridiculous. So
Yeah.
get rid of the bubbles.
I agree.
Yeah.
They won't,
No,
but I agree.
yeah.
Okay, and then finally on to hockey. I'll admit I kind of struggled with this one. Mine are kind of stretches. I don't know about you, but you can go first.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so I've got. We talked a little bit about this last week too, but shootouts I think have been really good. So that would be 2005 is when they put those in. Again, I think it's just kind of fun. It's exciting. Doesn't end in a tie. I think that's probably hockey is one. As we looked at some of these where they've made some rule changes, not as much as some of these other sports, maybe over the last 20 years. And I think you mentioned that in one of these last episodes, right? Like, hockey's kind of tried and true, and it's kind of just done its thing for a long time and been really good and really successful. And it doesn't need to change. So there haven't been a whole lot that I would say are like terrible or anything like that. It's just they're doing the right things, I think, and making the right calls. And I think the shootout's probably one that's good. On the flip side of that, I think the one I didn't really like also kind of goes to that end of game situation or scenario where when they get into overtime first, they do the 3-on-3. And I don't really like that. Again, it's kind of like that gimmicky thing with the guy on second base, and like it's a whole different game then. And like, why are we coming out with 3 skaters on the ice for each team? Just go 5-on-5, play 5 minutes,
hockey.
play hockey. If it gets to a shootout, great. Do the shootout, fine. But the 3-on-3 just it looks weird. Again, the Stadium Series the other night they had the overtime with 3-on-3, and then it was Boston again got another penalty because they get all the penalties, but then instead of like a player going off, well, he went off the ice, but then Tampa got another player come on. So it was 4-on-3 then instead of 3-on-2, which again, 3-on-2 is kind of weird, but like what? Now we got 4-on-3. It's just a weird. And then when the guy came out of the box and you got 4-on-4, again, get rid of this whole 3-on-3 action. Go to 5-on-5. The shootout's great. I think keep that, but this whole 3-on-3 action, I think can go.
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So maybe if both teams came out and committed double penalties each, they could play 5-on-5. They just
There
keep
you go.
adding players. for
Yeah.
penalties.
I do think the other night Boston had like 4 guys in the box at one time. So like it was kind of funny. The guys were like spilling over and like in the box. And I'm like, they can't fit any more guys in there. Like what the heck? So yeah, that's what they need to do. Is
Maybe.
just commit penalties when they get into overtime and get a real game going.
That's right. Yep. Okay. My like is just that they've added some more teams, some of the expansion with the NHL. It's not the most exciting, like not like an in-game rule, but like having a team in Vegas, having a team in Seattle. I think that those are both great markets, and I think that they were both spot on as far as like the marketing of the teams. Like the Golden Knights was a great brand. The Kraken's awesome too, just kind of fits in with the culture of that city.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're just both really great teams that, yeah, I think it's been great for the game to add a couple more. They're at 32 now, which I think make a little bit more sense than 30 also, just numbers wise. Yeah.
I think that is good. And I do think that the teams they bring in, they start out like that Knights were super hot right away.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way that they bring the teams in and the players that they're able to acquire for those teams, I think has been really good.
Yeah.
It's positive. Right?
Yeah. And like I remember the Knights of those like expansion drafts. It's exciting. They have a good system set up.
Yeah, they do.
That where you protect the players and then take one from each team.
Yeah. I
think that's cool.
It's a good setup for sure.
Yeah. And then my dislike is kind of similar to your one for basketball, but just some of the replay stuff with hockey. Getting down to a point where you're looking at like icing or offsides and like looking at somebody's skate, right? Like a little piece of metal over a line on a ice rink. Like it's just, I don't know. And it's, to me, hockey's even more like bang bang than basketball is, where it's just like, I don't know, the guy slid a couple inches too far and now we're going to take 5 minutes to look at it.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's just a little too much of the replay sometimes, especially at those end of game scenarios. And it's just, I don't know, sometimes whatever you saw might actually be what happened or might just be what makes the most sense.
Yeah. And it kind of takes away just the momentum and the flow of the game when you got
exactly.
these like starts and stops and whatever that they're not necessary. So I would agree. I mean, we talked about replay. You could go across all the sports on like, bag and replay for a lot of these things. It's just not, a lot of it isn't good. There's some things maybe they get right, but there's, a lot of it is just time wasting.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep, I agree. All right, I'll give you the floor then for 2 minutes in the box. Who are you putting in the box this week?
All right. Well, this has been, it's been probably a week or so since we found some of this out. And I don't even think they've announced the Hall of Fame, who's actually getting in, but obviously,
which is weird.
It is weird that like we know who's not in,
Yeah.
and there's news leaked, and people listening probably already know this about Belichick, not getting into the Hall of Fame. But I think the Hall of Fame voters are just the process. Maybe is what I'll put in the box here now, because like obviously he's a guy who should be in the Hall of Fame, first ballot. With the number of Super Bowls that he has and total number of wins. I mean, the guy, if you rack and stack him up, he's going to be the most successful coach of all time. And so, obvious first ballot Hall of Famer. There's, the way that I understood it is there are 5 guys on this particular ballot that they have, right? So there are 3 players. And you got Robert Kraft and you've got Bill Belichick, and these are like legacy players, or like old time players, right? And so these guys needed 40 of the 50 votes in order to be inducted, I guess, on this first ballot.
Right.
And so there are some, excuses about, well, some of these legacy guys, we want to let them in. Like, to me, if you've got those 5 guys on a ballot, Bill Belichick is like X1, like you're going for sure. Then I look at the other 4 and say, okay, what other 2 am I going to vote for? Because I get 3 out of 5.
Right. It's like, here's Belichick. Now, who else am I putting?
Exactly.
Right.
I don't understand how you can not put him in. With some of these others, it's ludicrous.
Well, an update we can give. I think this came out either maybe it was Monday. Robert Kraft also did not get in.
Yeah, I did hear
Did you
that
see
too.
that?
Yeah, I did hear that he did not get
So
in,
he
which
and Belichick.
I guess was leaked also, because I think
Yeah,
that a lot of
they're
the stuff,
announcing Thursday.
I think it was Thursday. Yeah, they're supposed to announce everything. So it's strange. I know they're going to be talking about then I think the Hall of Fame people were like, shouldn't be talking about this and the privacy of it all and whatever. But it's like, if these writers and voters, to me, I don't know after this comes out if we'll find out like who voted for who, or if it's all secret ballot and whatever.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that Bill Belichick was not a Hall of Fame or first ballot Hall of Famer, which obviously he's going to get in at some point, but crazy right now.
Well, my understanding is that it is all secret. So like anybody could admit to voting or not voting for him, but like we still don't know if they're actually telling the truth, I guess.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
they could just be making it up.
Yeah.
So we might never actually know. And I guess I'll steal an idea that I've heard from a few people, but there's everything with the NFL is so like media heavy, all the games, the schedule release, the draft, the combine. Why isn't the Hall of Fame voting more public, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if these people are all, credible enough to be in that room, why can't we see who they're voting for?
I agree.
Why not have the eyes on it?
Yeah, it seems like everything's out in the open now. Also, not just the NFL, but like everything is constantly televised or live streamed or whatever. Like, put that out there. Also, it is pretty crazy.
I mean, we're filming on Tuesday night, and we just watched guys play flag football for 3 hours on TV. I mean, like,
true.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy.
It seems like everything goes. So
yeah,
I don't get that.
The whole combine and everything is
it's crazy.
Yeah, everything is televised except these secret ballots that they've got for the Hall of Fame.
Okay, and then mine will be all these like G League, NBA players coming back to college. So this was a storyline at the beginning of the season. It started with, and I'm not pronouncing this right. There's no way, because his last name starts with 2 N's. James Najee.
It's Najee.
Najee.
I don't know.
Is that it? I haven't actually ever heard it said. Beginning of this season, I want to go back to Baylor. He was drafted in 2023, number 31 overall in the NBA, but never signed a contract, never played in the G League. He did play in the Summer League, and then he played professionally in Europe. So the NCAA cleared him. He joined Baylor, and he's playing at Baylor right now. So like this was a thing at the beginning of the season where people were like, "Whoa, this is allowed." It kind of died down, but it's coming back now. There's a couple players that have kind of started back up. So the big one is Charles Bediako at Alabama, who played in the G League, signed a 2-way deal. So he wanted to go back as well, sued the NCAA, and basically it's kind of stuck in court in Alabama. So received a temporary court ruling restoring his eligibility. And so now kind of like pending further action from courts, he's just allowed to play. Like he's basically been approved by a circuit judge, and it could keep getting passed up, but for now he's allowed to play. So basically, because somebody in a court in Alabama said this guy can play, he can come back from playing professional basketball in Europe.
Yeah, nobody's going to stop him right now.
Right.
Yeah, which I think he was playing over the weekend against Florida, and they got blown out by Florida,
Which is
funny.
awesome. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
You're right. Actually, yeah, I did see
They were
that.
taunting him and everything
Mhm.
throughout it, which, yeah, I mean, I think it's great. This college fan, that's what the college student should be doing.
Right.
Give that guy some heck, man.
So there's some precedent there. There's a few other players that are kind of attempting similar things. But then now the biggest story kind of happening at the same time as Bediako at Alabama is Amari Bailey, who wants to go back to UCLA. Or I actually don't know if he wants to go back to UCLA or where. But he played at UCLA. He went number 41 overall in 2023. And he played in 10 NBA games.
Yeah.
And now he wants to come back.
Hmm.
So before the line had kind of been at that G League, right? Like players can't come back if they've played in the G League. And because, how are we saying it? From Baylor, hadn't played in the G League, it was like, okay, I guess this is fine.
Yeah.
But now it's just progressively gotten worse, and like nobody's in charge, so nobody's saying what's okay. And now, like this guy who's played 10 games in the NBA wants to come back.
That's crazy. I don't know if LeBron James ever got his degree, but maybe he'll.
Maybe he has some
return to
eligibility
He's got
left.
some
Yeah, that's
eligibility
right.
to go back.
I guess. Like I don't know.
I don't know where it stops, right?
I don't either.
That's
So that's crazy to me. And again, I don't know if I have a solution, but it just seems like nobody's in charge, right? Like, I get that NIL gives players more of a reason to come back if they're not making anything in the NBA. Like, yeah, why not stay in college? But there's just, again, nobody in charge, nobody regulating. And so guys are coming back from the NBA to come play college.
it's Wild West.
It is.
It's crazy.
Wild West.
Yeah.
Okay. Getting towards the end here, we'll go into our 2-minute drill real quick and start wrapping things up. So we'll go with our football question first. Is a great coach or a great quarterback more important?
I said coach. So I actually think, my comp was like Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. I think great quarterback Caleb Williams paired with the maybe not so great coach in Eberflus last year gets Ben Johnson there, and all of a sudden now he's doing great. So I think the coach really makes the biggest impact there.
Yeah, I would agree. It just seems like coaching is pretty important. In the NFL, I think Darnold playing the Super Bowl is a great example of, flaming out with the Jets, now working out with the Panthers, being a backup, then on the Niners, and now with the Vikings and Seahawks, he's found great success, and the difference has been the coaching around him. And so I think the coaching is more important.
Yep, agreed.
All right, and then basketball, what matters more, a coach or a superstar?
This one was a little bit tougher, I think, for me, but I'm going to say superstar. So I do think coaching matters to some extent in basketball, but I think having the superstar is probably a bigger.
I agree
impact
again.
for me.
Yeah. I said superstar as well, and my thought, like I immediately went to Michael Malone, who appeared in the finals with the Nuggets in 2023, won the finals. Yeah, won the finals 2023, and was fired last season.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like he got 2 seasons after winning a Super Bowl.
Championship.
Super Bowl, gosh, all I'm thinking about
That's
the
all you got
Super
on your
Bowl.
mind,
Yeah, after winning the championship, and I mean, I don't think the team's seen much fall off. I don't know what the record is, but like they've got
they're great.
Jokic, they've
Jokic,
got
yeah.
Jamal Murray too. Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. They've got the superstar. That's all that really matters.
I would agree.
Okay, baseball, are analytics helping or hurting the game?
I do like data. I'm an analytics guy, but I think it's kind of hurting the game. Just because I think there's so much that people think too much about the analytics, and instead of just getting the feel of the game, the sense of what's going on, and kind of the gut feel sometimes is really what you need to make a decision on, not just what's the data telling me to do right now. So I do think there's still some of that gut feel and things that need to be fleshed out. It can't just be all data that people are using. So I think it's, for me, I don't like as much of the data that they're using now.
Yeah, again, I'm gonna actually kind of agree. This one, like, I didn't have a super strong opinion either way. I just feel like there's so many stats and acronyms getting thrown around in baseball these days that like there's just so much to keep track of, and it feels like it just doesn't all feel all that important to me. Like I think that to some extent it is just kind of getting a feel for the player, their skill at whatever their position is, outfield or infield, and yeah, they're batting or they're pitching. Like I don't know. It just seems like there's little bit too much going on.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's hurting necessarily. It just seems unnecessary.
Well, I think like even the contact hitters and like trying to swing for the fences all the time, and like they're saying the launch angles and all these things, and like it's better, but like you get more strikeouts, and I don't think that's great for the game to seeing guys strike out all the time. And like, yeah, okay, maybe we're getting a few more home runs here and there, but like, I don't know. I think there's some things that hurt it as well. So
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the sweet spot was like, you think of Moneyball, like that movie.
Mhm.
Maybe that was like the sweet spot of like, okay, here's where analytics are good, and then maybe we start to go too far.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, we can do this too, and then
Yeah.
Okay, hockey, is star power or depth more important?
I said depth. I think you can't just have one scorer, one great player. You got to have depth to win. We talked about Connor McDavid last week, and kind of that same thing where you got to have a lot of people around, the good depth at all positions, and especially with all the different line changes and things you have in hockey, you got to have depth. You can't just have one line that's great. You got to have multiple lines that are great. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think hockey, I guess, just doesn't get as much of the like publicity, maybe, but I feel like we don't hear as much about like stars in hockey. Like it's a lot more of I think a depth team sport. It's hard to go out, like you can't really go out there and do everything yourself. I don't feel like in hockey you're skating around on the ice. If anything, maybe that goalie is the one like key player.
Yeah.
But a team like the Lightning, they have 10 players playing in the Olympics, and so I think that depth is something important on a good team like the Lightning. Like I don't feel like there are players on the Lightning, obviously, but they don't have or they do have, I guess, like the depth, right? Like they have 10 guys playing in the Olympics. They go deep, and so that's why they are a good team. 36 and 36, 14 and 4. There we go. Yep. I was just pulling it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Top of the Atlantic. So yeah, great team, and it's depth, not star power.
Agreed.
Okay, and then wild card question: which sport produces the best leaders?
I said football, and for me, it's really the quarterback position. I think all sports really kind of produce great leaders, but I did actually look up because I feel like football has had a lot of guys going to like politics or like just great leaders and things like that. So football actually has had 36 players go into politics. Baseball 14, basketball 12, hockey just 1, which is kind of interesting. But I do think the quarterback's almost kind of like a CEO. You got kind of that high stakes decision making, ability to make things kind of on the fly quickly. And I was thinking about the quote from General Marshall, the U.S. Army, and he said, I want an officer for a secret and dangerous mission. I want a West Point football player. So he's looking for, I want a football player, right? And so to me, talking about football, the quarterback's probably the most important, biggest leader, I guess, for the team, locker room, everything else. That's the guy that I'm going to go with, and that's what I'm thinking from a leader perspective.
Yeah, I agree with football. And when I thought of this question, it was just like, that's the biggest, like, there's a 53-man roster, but then all those guys on the practice squad and in the organization, you talk about the quarterback or even like a head coach, like, that's a lot of people that are involved in making that organization work. And like by far more than any of these other sports we're talking about. So I just think that it makes the most sense. I think it's harder to become a great leader in football, but I think if you are successful at that, you're going to be among the best.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go into a new little segment here just for a couple of minutes called From the Stands. I know this is something you were kind of excited about, so I'll kind of let you take the lead here.
Yeah, no problem. I just think, one, I want to thank people for listening, and we've had a lot of comments, and people kind of stopped me and said, hey, man, I think it's great you're doing the podcast, and it's really fun listening in and everything, and so I just appreciate it. The other thing I didn't know is I didn't realize Spotify you could have comments on. So my good buddy Kyle has got a nice little comment out there on Spotify for us, which is great, and I saw that. But I've had a lot of people say it's been great. They've thrown out some ideas for some other episodes and things for us to consider, which I think is awesome, right? Like, keep those coming in. If there's ideas that you have that you want us to talk about, we'll get to those at some point here in our future episodes, but we'll keep a running list of those things. So either shoot us a note on our socials, comment on things, or obviously if you see us, if you know us, say something to us. I'll give a shout out to Mike White and Tate, who are listening every week right now too. And Mike had some great comments for me as well, and some different thoughts on future episodes for us to consider. So just want to shout out those guys and just kind of think about, you know, the fans and people that are listening and watching. And again, just appreciate all the support people are giving us so far.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
For sure. Yeah, no, it's been good. I know it might not be like the hugest group of people, which is fine. Like we're having a good time.
Yep.
But no, it's been good. I know my brother's been, you know, he keeps talking to us, giving us ideas, Matthew, and then your brother always sends me things. A lot of the stats I've been reading off, John. So that's been
Shout
good.
out Uncle Johnny.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
always
right.
has some good things to throw in.
Keeps
there.
me updated on hockey.
Yep.
But yeah,
And the betting lines. You know,
and the betting lines. That's right.
Betting lines too. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, so keep letting us know, guys. All right, we'll go into our extra innings, then kind of wrap up here. So I know you've been kind of taking the lead on all the coaching that's been going on, the hirings. So you want to talk through some of that?
Yeah, I think we're finally wrapped up with all the coaching hires. So the Bills obviously went down the hallway and picked up Joe Brady and said, "Hey, guess what? You're going to be the head coach now." So that was kind of interesting. Like,
don't love it.
No,
doesn't seem like they're really changing anything after firing the guy
Yeah.
that wasn't getting them anywhere. But
Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, they're not getting anywhere. And then again, the guy that's been the OC for quite a while, you just say, "Hey, you're going to be the head coach." It's almost like they really didn't have a plan or didn't really know what they were going to do. And I don't know. So just a quick rundown then. So the Cardinals, we talked about Mike. Oh no, we didn't talk about Mike LaFleur. So he's at the Cardinals now. Yeah. So you've got kind of that Shanahan tree / McVay tree, and Mike LaFleur going over to the Cardinals. You got Stefanski down with the Falcons, Jesse Minter with the Ravens, like we just said, Joe Brady and the Bills.
Yep.
Todd Monken on the Browns is kind of interesting.
That was just kind of a flop the way they handled the whole thing.
Yeah, and I think Schwartz threw a fit. I don't know if he stormed out. I don't know that he's necessarily gone because I guess he's still under contract. That's going to be a weird
Feels
situation.
Like he's gone
there.
though. Yeah, no, I don't know. Like, well, and I get it too. Like he's been a great defensive coordinator, and to say like, hey, like I want to be a head coach, and if I'm not on that trajectory here, then I want to go take a job that's going to get me there.
Yeah, yeah. So that's going to be interesting. It's almost like, do you have dual head coaches there, or what? You know, one guy's coaching the offense, one's coaching
I think he's got to be gone now with the reaction he had. Like, otherwise, there's that power struggle. I don't know.
Split locker room. And
it's
going to be a struggle there. Clint Kubiak to the Raiders, Halfley to the Dolphins. We talked about Mike McCarthy last week. Harbaugh to the Giants. Obviously, that was a while ago, and that's a lot to the Titans. So kind of interesting. I think a lot of young hires. Joe Brady's only 36. 6 of these hires are going to be head coaches for the first time. 3 of them are actually younger than Aaron Rodgers, who's 42. His head coach will not be. But Joe Brady, like I said, is 36. LaFleur's 38. And Clint Kubiak's 38. Jesse Minter, who's taken over with the Ravens, is 42, but he's like 7 months older than Rodgers. But the interesting thing with that is the average age of these coaches has dropped from 53 back in 2015 down to 47, just under 48, I guess, in 2025. So kind of interesting. You see the Belichicks and the Pete Carrolls and things kind of leaving, and these guys like McVay and things coming in now are a lot younger than we've had in the past. So yeah, finally have that coaching carousel figured out. Again, I do think it's going to be, some of these hires are kind of interesting with the Bills and Browns. See how these work out next year. But it's nice to finally have that, I guess, behind us now and move forward. So
it's all those young offensive guys. I don't know, like you've mentioned, that are bringing that age. It'd be interesting to count how many of them are off of like the McVay, Shanahan tree. I don't actually know. It's got to be a lot of them though.
It's a lot. Yeah, you're right. It is quite a few of them. So I think the one I was maybe a little surprised at is the Vikings defensive coordinator,
Brian Flores.
Yeah. I know he's got the
lawsuit against the NFL, which doesn't help him.
Yeah, it doesn't help him for sure. But that was one where you thought, could he get one of these? And obviously didn't. But
I think someday he'll be a head coach.
I would agree. But like you said, maybe the offensive minds were really kind of standing out this year.
Yeah. And maybe, I don't know, who knows? He could have had some more interest and just wanted to wait for better opportunity. I don't know.
That's true too. Yeah.
So yeah, I think eventually he's a head coach again. They're kind of like, I don't know, getting rid of some of the upper guys in Minnesota right now too. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, they fired their GM. And
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a weird time to do it. I don't know.
yeah. Well, I guess
But-
Sam Darnold gets to the Super Bowl, and they're like,
Yeah, they're like, that wasn't a
You-
great idea.
you screwed that up. You're out."
That doesn't look very good for that guy.
No.
Okay, and then for me, I'll just call it like the NBA trade deadline is coming up Thursday 2 or 3 p.m.
Mhm.
3 Eastern, something like that. That's coming up. We're not the biggest NBA fans all the time, but it is always fun to see the names moving around. Could be Giannis moving. I kind of sounds like it might not happen until the summer.
Yeah.
I think it's finally going to happen this offseason, even though they keep talking about it. But I guess we'll see. There's still a couple more days, and it was crazy how many trades happened today.
Yeah.
Our Bulls made some moves.
Yeah,
They
got
traded
Ivy.
Vooch away, which they don't have big anymore. Yeah, Jaden Ivey is, a Purdue guy. That's exciting to
Yeah,
see.
that'll be
He's a
fun.
fun player.
Yeah.
James Harden and Darius Garland getting swapped was not something I expected. I can't even picture James Harden in a Cavs uniform, but
yeah, it's gonna be
that'll
weird.
be something. What else am I forgetting? Jaren Jackson to the Jazz. That's another, I think, big pickup for the Jazz, honestly. There were some other ones, too, that I'm forgetting. And then there's other guys that are still out there that haven't been moved yet. John Morant, his timeline on his injury is until after the trade deadline. So I'm curious to see if he gets moved, especially with Jaren Jackson already out.
I think I was hearing it was Morant possibly going to Washington. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe.
That was a potential landing spot for him. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, like I said, there's still like a couple more. I mean, at the time we're recording, like a day and a half left. It's crazy. There's all these moves already.
Yeah.
I think some of these teams are probably gearing up for another trade. Like the Bulls, like I mentioned, don't have a big anymore, and they have like 7 guards. So I imagine they're going to make another move.
Yeah.
Like I think they're probably after somebody. I don't know who, but yeah. So I'm sure some of these teams are just loading up to make other deals. But it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, that is an exciting time. The other thing on Thursday, the Waste Management Classic. I know
That's
we don't
true,
talk about
yeah.
golf a lot, but like that's a fun event.
That is a
and
fun
whatever.
one. Yeah. Someday it'd be a fun one to go to.
That would be really cool to go to. So yeah, there are some fun things, not just the Super Bowl, but you got
Yeah.
some pretty exciting
Exactly.
sports stuff going on.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. And the Olympics are starting Friday night too. So
That's true. Yeah.
big time here.
Yeah, for sure. All right, scoreboard wise, I was kind of just keeping track as we were going, but again, on our 2-minute drill, we were agreeing on everything, so there isn't much to talk about there, which is fine. Good collaboration there.
Yeah, I would
this
agree.
episode.
No, I think it was. There was a lot of good things, and rule changes are tough, but I think
Yeah, I think we really agree.
I
most
do.
part.
I would agree. Yeah. I would agree again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you
we
go.
got some
There it
agreement
is
here.
again. All right, guys, we're right at an hour, which is a little bit longer. We're getting longer every time. We're getting better at this, but talking a little bit more. So I think that's going to do it for this drive on First and 4. If you like today's conversation, make sure to follow, rate, and share the show. We'll be back next time breaking down the biggest stories and our generational opinions from the 4 major sports. Until then, we'll see you for the next play.